Om Om Sadashivasamārambham Shankaracharya-madhyamām Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-parampara. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheswara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidyushavahī. Om Shant Shant Shanti. So we'll go to verse number 27. No, 28, sorry. 27 we have already seen. Asraddhaya hutam dattam tapastapam krutam chayat asadityuchyate partha nachatat pretyano iha. So with this verse, this chapter 17 is getting covered, not completed, okay? Just covered. So now, as we have been discussing so quickly, also I'll try my best to give today a summary. Here he says that after this discussing Shraddha and everything, Om Tat Sat. So he wants to highlight the first point that the chapter started with Shraddha. So he says, Asraddhaya hutam tanam. So whatever yat hutam is offered, dattam given as danam, or even if taptam tapah practiced tapas, chakrutam asradhaya, and as done worship without shraddha, uchyate is said is asat, is not worthy. And that too, that these activities now we have definitely neither fructifies here, nor cha pratyaya, not hereafter. Partha, O Arjuna. So he puts the last sentence very strong way. Hey, look, without Shraddha, whatever you do, neither it is going to bring any result here nor hereafter. Because he is very clear in this regard. Because when there is no Shraddha, the mind is always behind reasonings, logics, and benefits. And mind always looks for intellectual benefit, intellectual growth, and intellectual education. Actually, we need intellectual education for our survival, not for happiness. For happiness, we need emotional education. But the problem, people think, because they don't differentiate between the intellectual and emotional aspect, they think that intellectual itself is emotion. So that's why here very carefully being used, like the difference between money. So definitely money is useful, required for living. But money is not required for happiness. Happiness has nothing to do with money. But what is the common thinking of people from our childhood? What we have been thinking in spite of listening to Vedanta so long. So what you say? Swamiji, everything is good, I don't have money. So let Vedanta go to hell. You understand? So money is required, but money has its own limitations. Money has nothing to do with happiness. But we think, in spite of listening to Vedanta. So also intellectual and emotional. So for my growth, for my better living, for me to take care of me and myself, I need emotional education, not intellectual education. And through Shraddha, one gets educated emotionally. Not what happens to others, what happens to me, how I respond, how I look at. At least Shraddha, one thing does instantly, makes you to feel assured, makes you feel secure. That assurance and security comes instantly by Shraddha. So that's why he says, Ashraddhaya, without Shraddha, whatever we do has no meaning neither here nor hereafter. So what he wants to highlight here is that focus on Shraddha, focus on emotional education. With this, the chapter is called Shraddhatraya Vibhaga, the division of Shraddhas, that is divided into three categories, is completed. So now I also should complete. But however, I'll give you the gist or summary of this chapter. So you people also start thinking how the summary is to be developed. This is how, next step for all of you. Okay. Now, summary thus. Bhagavad Gita divided into three parts: 1 to 6, 7 to 12, and 13 to 18. And this last portion or last part of Bhagavad Gita, mainly 13, 14, and 15, dealt with self-knowledge in details. Because for a jiva, the ignorance is main criteria because of which the person is insecure. And because of insecurity, dependence, lobha, karpanya bhava, and finally comes what? Comes bhayam. So Lord Krishna in details dealt 13, 14, and 15 chapter. But he discovered, hey, look, self-knowledge is one part. Preparedness of the mind is equally important. So if the mind is not prepared, self-knowledge will not have any impact. Let us say, very carefully, let us say I don't have self-knowledge. But my mind is prepared. 90% I'll enjoy, you can say, the calmness, happiness of my mind. Means you can say moksha, 90% moksha. Whereas, if mind is not prepared, but knowledge comes because of God's grace or Guru's grace, somehow can come. But remember, because mind is not prepared, that knowledge will not stay for long. There will be covering, there will be coat. So it is not going to work at all. So understanding this, that's why my way of living and the knowledge are together. It cannot be separated. So that's why Lord Krishna thought of highlighting the preparedness of mind. So in the 16th chapter, he thought of highlighting there is something called prepared mind, there is something called unprepared mind. Deva Asura Sampada. Then he thought, okay, this is one way. Why not to look at same thing? Prepared mind and unprepared mind called Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. So if you are endowed with Sattvic Bhavam, Sattvic Shraddha, mind is prepared. If it is Rajasic and Tamasic, mind is not prepared. So when Lord Krishna highlighted very carefully that this how this mind works, because for knowledge, for liberation, for happiness, we need a sattvic mind. So that's why you can say very carefully what we saw in Tattvabodha, Sadhana Chatushtaya, or you can say sattvic mind, or you can say Guna Brahmanatvam is called a status of a adhikari. Now, when I am a adhikari, then only knowledge will enter. So here, when we talk about adhikaritvam, me being a adhikari, so that means what I need to do? So I need to be very careful with my mind. That's why when Lord Krishna in 16th chapter, so when he said, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Akarya Vyavastito. So from that, Arjuna picked up the thread. So he asked the question, Ye Shastram Vidhi Uschurya Yajante Sradhyanvitaha Tesham Nishtatu Ka Krishna Sattvam Aha Rajastham. So if a person is having, sorry, who is endowed with Shraddha, no doubt in it, but does not follow the Shastra, because you said Shastra is important. So how to categorize him, his activities? So whatever he does, especially performing rituals, so where do you categorize them? Is it Sattva, Raja, or Tam? So when you ask this question, now we can say, to answer this, from 1 to 6 of this chapter is one topic. So where mainly this Shraddhatraya Vibhaga being discussed in details. Actually, with the verse number 6, the chapter is completed. But Lord Krishna thought, why not to bring something different? So from verse number 7 to 22nd, Lord Krishna brought Ahara Adi 4 topics. Starts with Ahara. So what he did, he said Ahara, Yajna, Tapa, and Danam. That's why Ahara Adi 4 topics. You can put it, food, etc. So he thought of dwelling that topic. And 23rd to 27, so he brought the significance of this very popular mantra called Om Tat Sat. And finally, 28, he highlighted, if you don't have Shraddha, you are nowhere. It's a waste. So while discussing this, now we can look at first thing when he talked about puja, worship. Highlighted, look, based on my mind, I do puja. So basically, I am the expression of my mind. So if my mind is good, my puja is good. If my mind is bad, my puja is bad. That's why what we say, we need to have a prescribed method of puja. Not what you want, what you don't want. It doesn't work. So minimum things to be done in a prescribed manner. You cannot jump, you cannot decide. They will say, like, especially bhakti people, look, I look at Krishna as my child. The way I want, I can feed. They do it. They spend hours together. Especially Balakrishna, that fellow is a very dangerous fellow, okay? So all are busy. Balakrishna is a small boy, okay? Very dangerous fellow. So the way they spend time, you cannot think of. Good, nothing wrong in it. At least they don't eat the brain of, especially ladies, okay? They don't eat the brain of husband, okay? Or children. At least let them eat the brain of that small fellow, okay? But what happens when they are happy? You should see the decoration. You should see the food. When they are unhappy, I am sure they must be eating that Krishna, okay? You don't do this thing, you don't take care of this, that. Be there without food. It's possible, okay? Don't worry. In short, I would like to say, we can divide this puja into 3 categories. So what if a person does puja for internal growth? That is called sattvic puja. No noise, nothing, okay? Whereas if a person does puja for external growth, I need prosperity, I need name, fame, and a lot of noise, of course, has to create. Like, no, now this Durga Puja. So Durga Puja all over India is mainly Rajasic Puja. And sometimes it goes to Tamasic, especially after Durga Puja, when they take the procession, okay? So that goes to Tamasic mode. There is nothing Sattvic or Rajasic, okay? So there, when I do something for external benefit, for my power, position, money, And of course, I create a lot of noise within and outside externally. That puja is called Rajasic puja. Whereas when I do something, do puja to harm others in order to establish myself. So focus is me to be established so that I can do anything. I can destroy anybody. So that sort of worship is considered as tamasic. And also you can see, save these 3 points with reference to everything. Whether it is tapas, puja, or any action or activities. Also, dana. Like we have a beautiful saying, Arjuna, sorry, not Arjuna, I mean Duryodhana. We have a beautiful saying, okay? If you, while giving danam, we say, if you cannot become Karna, at least be Duryodhana. The beautiful saying. So Karna was being considered as a great Dani because he had sense of insecurity, sense of rejection, not insecurity, sense of rejection from the childhood. So he thought he can be accepted by charity. In fact, he gave his life. Let us not get into psychological aspect. So he was that sort of person. That's why till now we say Dani Karna. We don't call he's a great warrior. In fact, he was much more better than Arjuna, for your kind information. The best archer was Karna, not Arjuna. With Arjuna, only grace was there. That's why this fellow could succeed everywhere. Only Arjuna managed the grace. But the real archer was Karna. But Karna is named as Dani. That sort of Dani. So if you cannot become Dani, Karna, at least be Dani as Duryodhana. Do you know what is Duryodhana? So Duryodhana comes under third category of Dana. Tamasic Dana he does. What? Especially when Rajasuya Yajna was done by Yudhishthira. So the storehouse in charge was Duryodhana. Purposeful they made him. Or else anywhere he will create a mess. So better that is the place for him. And what he did, he started giving charity. So why he gave away things? He thought the store will be empty so that these people will be blamed. So he was giving away the way he was giving to make sure that these people will not have anything in the store. So that's why we say, at least if you cannot become Karna, be Duryodhana, means be charity in some other's property, okay? There are people also that in that they are also miserable, miser. You understand? In others' charity property, they put in their pocket, okay? Especially you go to many things when you have, okay? It's in all this Durga Puja, especially. What is that? So people give charity, then from that they keep some money and do all the tamsa. Let us not get into. Because now Durga Puja mind is there, so that's why I'm talking this. However, so here is being highlighted. So whether it's puja or tapas or any action, we need to look at into 3 categories. Also, when he talked about ahara, we have seen in details. So that means one is supposed to avoid certain food. So you cannot say, look, my guru was eating non-veg, that's why I am eating non-veg. So that is one religion. They don't kill, but if you cook non-veg, they eat. So they are called, embodiment of non-violence. So with this, I have a small joke, I can go ahead. So I had been to an ashram in Odisha long back. So early morning, it was winter. So a lot of sadhus were there because we had a meeting, sadhu meeting. And as usual, when I went down around 6:30, so there was no tea, coffee. To be very honest, I went crazy. My, madness went much more crazier, become more crazier, seeing the elderly sadhu, especially 70-year-old, some of them, sitting in the hot sun, and the moment I said, Hariom, so aapke saying, how are you and all this. Then finally they asked me, so we want some tea, but nothing is provided here. And you know my mind went crazy. So I asked, so somebody the moment something was going on, then I, coughed myself. Then the organizer, Swami, came. Please, oh, you came? I said, yes. I said, where is the tea coffee? First question. No hurry, nothing, okay? So where is the tea coffee? Ah, we don't drink, we don't have. I said, why you don't drink? Because our guru does not drink. It was worst for me. I said, whatever your guru drinks, can you give some everybody? They got shocked, okay? Because of course I have all data with me, okay? And that ashram is one international ashram, okay? That Swami was internationally famous, okay? Belongs to one group of yoga, don't worry. The moment I said this thing, whatever your guru drinks, why can't you provide that? You'll be shocked to know, in half an hour time, for me, special coffee, and for everybody, excellent tea they made. And all this elderly Swami came and said, Swamiji, thank you very much. And it became rule every day, tea should be given, because all the yoga practitioners, they don't take tea, coffee. Nah? You understand? I don't want to get into too much. So when you look at this thing, that because my guru does this, I do this. That means again, you are not following Shastra. You have to be very clear and careful. So while discussing this thing, now also he tries to highlight, look, whatever you may do, always give importance to your preparation of mind. Because if mind is not prepared, definitely you are not going to enjoy the knowledge. And interestingly, that is what we discovered, that if your mind is not prepared, take the help of Om Tat Sat. That was the next chapter. So by using Om Tat Sat, instantly you cover or you take care what? The Rajasic and Tamasic activities, and they get converted into Sattvic. And how and why, you know. But remember, it's not going to work so quickly converting. How? I'll give you a beautiful joke so that you can understand. You must have heard this joke. It is a Punjab joke. So in Punjab, there is no now Punjabi, in the sense, most of them are converted, especially all these Protestant, this and that, and all these missionaries, they have converted. That's why they want to have another country called Khalistan, the movement. That's the reason behind it. How? So once one wife was very much disturbed with her husband, because this fellow always drinks, disturbs, scolds, this, that. So how to get a remedy? So he came across a church. There the father said, look, I have a remedy. If he becomes devoted to Jesus, so he will give up drinking. He'll be perfectly okay. Okay. So wife accepted, because they have got their tricks and techniques. This is how they convert in India. Any problem, they have solution. It's okay. So wife somehow managed to bring husband on Sunday. So this, baptizing happened. So perfect. So few days, it was very peaceful. After a few days, again, what happened? Same noise, same issue. Wife got completely disturbed. What is happening? What to do? Then went to complain, father. Father said, no, should not happen. That means he's a sinner now. It's not right. Very bad. Okay, let us call. So he came. In fact, wrong time. As usual, he came, one hand bottle, other hand, other food items in a halfway. Hey, what are you doing? You are not supposed to drink. You promised. He said, yes, I don't drink alcohol. Then what are you doing? I never drink alcohol. Then what you do? Look what I do. As you did, I am doing the same thing. Know what? So you did while converting me, what you do? In the name of God and Holy Spirit, I convert you in short. I also take this bottle deep in the water and say, in the name of God and Holy Spirit, now I convert you and you are no more alcohol. You are now water. And I drink. So I don't drink alcohol. I only drink what? Water. So now you may ask the question, same thing will happen here? It's not going to like that. Remember, if you are not completely tuned, you cannot start with Om Sat, nor you can start with Om Tat Sat, end with Om Sat, Tat Sat. It will never happen. Even if you try to do mechanically, right time, it will not come. It needs a lifestyle. It needs a minimum understanding. So that's why it's being highlighted that through this Om Tat Sat means I surrender to everything, the eternal God, that which is all protecting, which is in the form of existence. So remembering that, and I offer to that. That's why we say, Om Tat Sat, Sarvam Brahmarpanam Astu. In fact, after the puja, we say, Om Tat Sat, Sarvam Brahmarpanam Astu. With that, we complete it. So that's why what need to be done here is, when I do this, that bringing God always in front of me. First God, then me. Not first me, then God. Doesn't work. That's why when we enter into the house, with this I'll stop it. We call the Gruha Pravesham, means entering into the house. What you call as house warming ceremony in English. You know who enters to the house first? Not you. The God has to enter first. After your deity enters, so along with the deity you enter. So that means the house is not yours. Can you see this point? That's why first we think of where to keep my deity. Because with whom I am going to relate. So I'm not going to relate all the time with my husband, wife, or children. Impossible. It's not going to work. My relationship, primary relationship is with my deity. All other relationships are secondary. So when I start relating with the deity, definitely my mind is more stable. And that mind, stable mind, will be prepared for the knowledge. That's why I started with. I don't need any intellectual knowledge at all. I need to be educated emotionally. And the emotional knowledge is the most important aspect in my life. And the more I am emotionally educated, the more I am a stable and happy person. How? With this, I'll stop. If you observe your life, this is called intellectual and emotional. Now, from morning till now, Be honest. Did you find any fault in anybody? Definitely. Okay, if not, last 1 week, did you find any fault in anybody, other people? Definitely. That will be serious. Yes or no? Be honest. Yes or no? At least raise your hand. At least we don't be miser, okay? Okay, if people don't want to say anything, eh? Okay, fine. Because all are serious now. Now, before half an hour of the class, did you find fault in anybody?